The Fed is in his sights. Donald Trump is a man who hates to lose. Whether it's in business, politics, or any other arena, he always aims to come out on top. He especially hates losing money. For Trump, financial success is a key measure of his achievements. So when inflation started soaring, Trump was fuming. Rising prices meant that the value of money was decreasing, and this was unacceptable to him. He blamed the Federal Reserve. He believed their policies were directly responsible for the economic turmoil. He thought they were raising interest rates too fast. In his view, these rapid increases were stifling economic growth. This, he argued, was hurting the economy. Businesses were struggling to borrow money and consumers were feeling the pinch. Trump wanted the Fed to focus on growth. He believed that a thriving economy would benefit everyone. He wanted low interest rates to boost businesses. Lower borrowing costs would encourage investment and expansion. But the Fed had other plans. They were more concerned about controlling inflation. They believed that unchecked inflation could lead to long-term economic instability. This clash of priorities set the stage for a showdown. Trump and the Fed were on a collision course. Trump's focus on inflation wasn't new. Throughout his career, he had always emphasized the importance of a strong economy. He always campaigned on a strong economy. His promises of economic prosperity resonated with many voters. Low taxes and deregulation were his go-to moves. He believed these policies would unleash the full potential of the American economy. He believed in the power of the free market. He argued that less government intervention would lead to greater innovation and growth. But his critics weren't convinced. They argued that his policies favored the wealthy and increased economic inequality. They said his policies only helped the rich. They pointed to growing disparities in income and wealth as evidence. They argued that working families were struggling. The debate raged on, with both sides presenting their own data and arguments. As the 2024 election neared, the economy took center stage. Voters were keenly interested in how each candidate would address economic issues. Both Democrats and Republicans had their own solutions. Each party presented different strategies to tackle inflation and promote growth. Trump once again promised to fix things his way. He assured his supporters that he had the right plan to restore economic stability. He vowed to fight inflation and bring back a booming economy. His message was clear. He would take decisive action to protect American prosperity. The question was, would the Fed cooperate? The outcome of this battle would shape the future of the American economy. Enter Judy Shelton, an economist with a radical idea. She wanted zero inflation. This wasn't just a minor tweak to economic policy, it was a complete overhaul of how we think about money and prices. That's right, absolutely no increase in prices. Imagine going to the grocery store and knowing that the price of milk, bread and eggs would be the same next year as it is today. Shelton argued this would make life easier for everyone. Families could plan their budgets without fear of rising costs. Businesses could invest with confidence, knowing their expenses wouldn't suddenly skyrocket. No more worrying about prices going up. Everything would be predictable. This stability, she believed, would lead to a more prosperous and secure society. Sounds great, right? Well, not so fast. Most economists were horrified. They warned of deflation. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a serious economic threat. This is when prices actually go down. While it might sound like a good thing, it can lead to a vicious cycle of reduced spending and economic decline. Sounds good, but it can be disastrous. When people expect prices to fall, they delay purchases, waiting for even lower prices. This reduces demand, leading businesses to cut back or close down. Think of the Great Depression. People stopped spending. Businesses shut down. The economy spiraled downward. It was a time of immense hardship and suffering. Deflation can be a scary thing. It creates a downward spiral that's hard to escape from, leading to widespread economic pain. Experts like Mark Zandi and Justin Wolfers sounded the alarm. They pointed out that deflation could lead to higher unemployment and lower wages, making it harder for people to make ends meet. They said Shelton's plan was dangerous. It was a gamble that could destabilize the entire economy. Even some of her supporters disagreed. They were intrigued by her ideas, but worried about the potential risks. Stephen Moore, a fellow conservative economist, thought it was too risky. He believed that while the idea had merit, the potential downsides were too great, but Shelton was undeterred. She believed her plan would protect the value of the dollar. Would anyone listen? Her vision was clear, but the path forward was fraught with challenges and opposition. Donald Trump and Jerome Powell. One was the President of the United States, the other the Chair of the Federal Reserve. One appointed the other, but their relationship was anything but smooth sailing. It was a roller coaster of praise and criticism. At first, Trump seemed happy with Powell. He had appointed him after all. But things changed when Powell started raising interest rates. Trump was furious. He thought Powell was trying to sabotage his presidency. He publicly criticized Powell's decisions. He accused him of trying to make the economy look bad. Powell, though, stood his ground. He insisted the Fed was independent. He said they were just doing their job, which was to control inflation. He tried to ignore Trump's attacks. He knew the Fed had to stay above politics. But the tension was palpable. The relationship remained strained. Can a president just fire the Fed chair? It's a question that has been debated. Trump certainly hinted at it. He seemed to think he had the power. But legal experts weren't so sure. They said there had to be a good reason. Policy disagreements probably wouldn't cut it. The Supreme Court has weighed in on similar cases. They generally protect independent agencies from political interference. Firing a Fed chair without a strong justification could lead to a legal battle, and the outcome wouldn't be guaranteed. The Fed is designed to be independent. It's accountable to Congress, not the president. This structure is meant to shield it from political pressure. It's supposed to make decisions based on what's best for the economy, not what's best for a particular politician. But in the world of politics, things aren't always so clear-cut. Section 5, the Fed independent, but with oversight. The Federal Reserve is a powerful institution. It controls the money supply, it sets interest rates, it influences inflation and employment. But with great power comes great responsibility, and that's where Congress comes in. The Fed may be independent, but it's not above the law. Congress has the power to oversee its activities. They can hold hearings, they can call Fed officials to testify, they can even change the laws that govern the Fed. It's a system of checks and balances. The relationship between the Fed, Congress, and the president is complex. There's a constant push and pull. The Fed tries to stay independent, but it also has to be responsive to the concerns of elected officials. Finding the right balance is crucial. It's essential for a healthy economy. Section 6, Trump versus Powell. Accusations Fly. Trump didn't mince words when it came to Powell. His tone was sharp, and his accusations were pointed. He accused him of being an enemy of the state, a bold and unprecedented claim. He claimed Powell was deliberately trying to hurt the economy, suggesting that his actions were not just misguided, but malicious. He even suggested Powell might be trying to help the Democrats win elections. The accusations were serious. They were also unfounded. Trump's rhetoric was fiery, aiming to cast doubt on Powell's intentions. Powell, for his part, remained calm. He didn't let the accusations rattle him. He repeatedly defended the Fed's independence, emphasizing that their decisions were based on data and analysis. He insisted their decisions were based on economic data, not politics. Powell's focus was on maintaining the integrity of the Federal Reserve. He tried to rise above the fray, focusing on his responsibilities rather than the political noise. He knew the Fed's credibility was on the line. The stakes were high, and Powell was aware of the pressure. Despite the attacks, Powell continued to do his job. He remained steadfast in his duties. He navigated the challenges of a global pandemic, making decisions that would impact millions. He made tough decisions to support the economy, balancing the need for stability with the urgency of the crisis. And he did it all under intense scrutiny. Powell's leadership was tested in unprecedented ways, but he remained committed to the Fed's mission. His dedication to the institution and its goals never wavered, even in the face of relentless criticism. Section 7, Trump's economic playbook, tax cuts and more. Trump's economic philosophy was simple: less government, more growth. He believed in cutting taxes. He wanted to slash regulations. He favored a strong dollar. He thought these policies would unleash the American economy. Trump argued that his policies would benefit everyone. He promised more jobs and higher wages, but critics weren't convinced. They said his policies only helped the wealthy. They argued that working families were struggling to keep up. The debate over Trump's economic legacy continues. Supporters point to periods of economic growth during his presidency. Critics highlight rising inequality and the national debt. One thing is certain: Trump's economic policies left a lasting mark. Section 8. The Fed's future: challenges and uncertainties. The Federal Reserve faces many challenges. The global economy is constantly evolving. New technologies are emerging, geopolitical risks are rising, and climate change is creating new uncertainties. The Fed must adapt to these challenges while remaining true to its mission. One major challenge is low interest rates. The Fed has less room to maneuver when the economy slows down. This has led to discussions about unconventional policies. Negative interest rates are one possibility, but these policies are untested and controversial. Another challenge is political polarization. Trust in institutions is declining. The Fed must work hard to maintain its credibility. It needs to communicate clearly with the public, and it needs to resist political pressure. The future of the Fed depends on it.